I don't know if you've ever been so mad you laughed not because something was funny, but because it was just that absurd. That's exactly what happened the morning I found the HOA holding a board meeting in my barn. Yep, my barn. On my land. With my bulls. But let me rewind a bit, because trust me, it didn't start with bulls and folding chairs. It started with a text from my neighbor Carol at 6:15 in the morning. The phone buzzed just as I was pouring my first cup of coffee. The sky over Ashford Ridge was barely awake, but the text said, "You need to come to the barn. Now, the HOA's here with bolt cutters. Now, I've lived on my 5-acre slice of land for over 12 years. It used to belong to my granddad, and he passed it down to me along with 3 prized black Angus bulls, Hank, Diesel, and Roscoe. My barn sits a good 127 feet from the property line, well within every zoning regulation the county's ever published. And it's not just some rundown shack. That barn's been standing strong since 1951. It's where I raised calves, stored hay, and yes, it's where the bulls sleep. By the time I threw on my boots and sprinted over, I was already boiling. And when I saw Patricia Bell, the self-declared president of the Ashford Ridge, she was standing there with her henchmen, Carl and Nancy, bolt cutters in hand, I knew this wasn't just about rules. This was personal. "What the hell are you doing?" I yelled, staring at my padlock sliced clean through and hanging like a broken promise. Patricia turned to me, not the least bit apologetic, and said, "Mr. Anders, we're conducting an inspection of unauthorized structures. This barn is an eyesore. It brings down the value of the neighborhood." I blinked at her, trying not to lose it. "This barn's older than your entire subdivision. My family's had agricultural rights here since before you were born." Carl stepped up with his clipboard like it was a badge of honor. Section 3.4 of the HOA Charter states that all structures must maintain visual harmony with community aesthetics. I laughed a short, bitter laugh. "This isn't a cookie-cutter cul-de-sac, Carl. It's a working ranch." Nancy, who had mostly been silent up until now, raised her phone and started recording. "We're documenting your aggressive behavior," she announced. "This will be part of our formal complaint." "Aggressive? You broke into my barn. That's called trespassing where I come from." They eventually left, muttering about legal action and community standards, but I knew it wasn't over. Something about Patricia's smug grin told me she had more up her sleeve. 2 weeks passed. I thought maybe they'd moved on to harassing someone else. Saturday rolled around, perfect weather, not a cloud in the sky. I decided to head into town, grab some feed, and treat myself to breakfast at Millie's Diner. I was gone about 3 hours. When I pulled back into the driveway, I noticed something odd right away. Patricia's silver SUV and Carl's spotless white pickup were parked by my barn. 2 other cars I didn't recognize sat nearby. I parked and walked over, already dreading what I might find. Inside my barn they had set up folding tables, chairs, and even a damn coffee station. Patricia was at the head of the table like she was hosting some suburban summit. 7 people were inside, flipping through papers like they owned the place. "Are you out of your mind?" I barked. Patricia didn't even flinch. "Mr. Anders, we're conducting a feasibility study. This structure has great potential for community use. With proper renovation, it could be a multi-purpose space. The only thing it's being used for is housing my bulls. You have 10 seconds to get out before I call the sheriff." Carl puffed up like a bureaucrat peacock. "The county has authorized us to assess code violations." I pulled out my phone. "Then they can come explain it to my bulls." "Wait," Patricia said, that smug smile back. "We've contacted zoning officials about reclassifying this area. Your exemption may not be as solid as you think." That was it. I snapped. Not in a screaming way, but in that clear, cold way you do when you're done being pushed. I walked out the back of the barn, down toward the pasture. "Boys," I called. Hank, Diesel, and Roscoe lifted their heads. I opened the gate, stepped aside, and watched 3 tons of pure muscle stroll up the hill. The barn went quiet. First, Hank, 200 pounds of calm menace, stepped through the barn door. He was followed by Diesel, who liked to explore with his nose, and Roscoe, the youngest but the most curious. The HOA people froze. Patricia actually stood up and pointed. "Shoo. Go on." Hank didn't shoo. He walked right up to the coffee station and started sniffing pastries. Diesel slobbered over the paperwork. Roscoe just stood in the middle, watching everyone like he was evaluating their worth. "Mr. Anders," Carl shouted, climbing onto a table. "Control your animals." "They are controlled," I said. "They're at home. You're not." For the next hour, they were effectively trapped. Hank blocked the main door. Diesel knocked over the coffee table. Roscoe sniffed everyone's shoes. It was chaos but oddly peaceful. The bulls weren't aggressive. They were just present. Eventually, Nancy declared it was kidnapping. "You're holding us hostage with livestock." "You're free to leave any time," I replied. "Just squeeze past Hank there. He doesn't bite, but he doesn't move easy either." They sat, sweated, whispered. Patricia tried to resume the meeting, mumbling something about community development. That's when Carol showed up again, this time with Deputy Miller. "Jake," she said, "I figured this was above your pay grade." The deputy surveyed the scene. The cut padlock, the bulls, the HOA folks looking like they'd been through a war. "So let me get this straight," he said. "They broke in, and your bulls walked in after them?" "Exactly." He nodded. "Well, I can't arrest a bull for standing in a barn, but I can arrest people for criminal trespass." Suddenly, everyone wanted to negotiate. Patricia tried to save face, claiming it was all a misunderstanding. Carl mumbled apologies. Nancy put her phone away. In the end, the HOA agreed to drop all complaints and stay the hell away from my barn. The county consultant who had apparently been duped into showing up walked out shaking his head, promising not to return. The moment Hank stepped aside and let them leave, it was like watching kids file out of detention. No eye contact. No smug grins. 6 months later, my barn still stands. Hank, Diesel, and Roscoe still rule the roost. And the HOA? They found another project hopefully far from livestock. Sometimes, the best way to handle bullies is to introduce them to real bulls. If you've ever had to fight for your land, or dealt with folks who think clipboards give them power, I want to hear about it. Drop your story in the comments. Let me know, was I right to do what I did, or should I have handled it differently? Like, share, subscribe, and remember, out here, property rights matter, and so do the bulls who protect them. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story on Store of Good Stories. If this story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to hit like and share the video to spread this positive message to more people. And if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the meaningful stories we share every week. Your support is the biggest motivation for Store of Good Stories to keep bringing heartfelt and valuable stories to you. See you in the next video.